Magandang hapon po. Ako na naman po. Mayroon lang po ako sasagutin dito. Gawa mayroon po nag-message sa akin si Sir Josan na ang tanong niya ito po, Sir, pwede po bang talakayin ang proper breeding? Pagpaparis ng tandang at inahin na magkaiba ang linyada. Halimbawa, hatch round head, anong kulay ang mga paa, balahibo at katangian, ang lalabas na ang offspring, phenotype at genotype. Hindi ko lang po alam exactly kung tama po yan. Okay. Sasagutin kita. Meron na ako isang article na babasahin dito tungkol sa breeding method muna. Okay. Inbreeding, line breeding, crossbreeding, and a combination of these methods will eventually lead to success. The most important single factor to success in the breed yard is your source of brood fowl. Do not read the Gamecock magazine and pick up the phone and call just anybody, as you will be more than likely disappointed. To make an intelligent decision as to who to call, you should make at least of question before dialing. Okay. Ito po isa. Line breeding. Makinig ka, line breeding to. Seed fowl should be maintained with no outside genetic influence for at least 7 generations. In many scientific-based breeding programs, the objective of maintaining the 7 generation is to produce what is known as a 3x5 line breed individual. A 3x5 is a result of using the gamecock on the hen side and the 5th generation and the same cock on the calf side on the 3rd generation. These 3x5 methods of line breeding, 3rd and 5th generation, will theoretically produce an individual resembling the cock is the 3rd and 5th generation. Once you have reached this point in your breeding program, you will need to infuse a similar fighting style bloodline to maintain your seed fowl vigor. Using the above explanation, you should realize that the science of genetics is very complex. From our discussion, you should come to the conclusion that a small consistent genetic pool is the only way to hear periodicity. Remember, all fighting ability is controlled by the genetic pool of your brood fowl. Using the above, you will have cocks that look alike and fight alike. Okay. Inbreeding. Before you obtain your brood fowl, you must have a planned breeding program. The line breeding method is the best strategy for a person who plans to be in this sports for a long period of time. The inbreeding method will ensure that a large percentage of offspring will possess the fundamental fighting characteristic that you are looking for. In cockfighting, power, speed, cutting ability, and gameness will dictate the winner. One must select families which will produce a very high percentage of individual that will produce at least one of the above characteristics. My hatch family will produce offspring that will hit you like a middle linebacker and will continue pounding you with vicious flurries and multiple shuffling and will stay until they have destroyed their opponents. This family of hats possesses this characteristic, but as an honest cockfighter, we tell you, there is not one breed of fowl can do it alone. To produce the characteristic found in my hatch family, one must inbreed a proving cock back to his nieces or daughters to dramatically enhance the power, pass, shuffling, and dead gameness characteristic. The objectives of inbreeding is to continuously produce offspring with the above characteristic. The first cross of your cock dominant family will produce offspring that are one-half cock dominant individual. By breeding the same cock back to his daughter, and you will produce the offspring that will be 3/4 cock dominant. By repeating this procedure, you will have offspring that will be 7-8 cock dominant. Continuing the strategy to you produce individual, which Bill 116, repeating again, will result in 132 dominant offspring, at which time new blood must be introduced through the infusion method of ensure continuing success. To infuse fresh blood into your cock dominantly family, you must select a family that closely resembles the fighting style of your cock dominant family. In my breeding program, I infuse the best gray stag over one of the best producing hatch hens. By selecting the most outstanding stag of each their offspring, you will eventually breed most of the gray blood out of the hatch family. For example, the first cross of the gray to the hatch will produce half and half. Continuing to cross will produce 3/4, 7/8, and 1/16, and 1/32. By starting your infusion program at the same time as your cock dominant family is being developed, you will have access to the infused blood to use as it becomes necessary to maintain the solid cock dominant family. Okay, crossbreeding. Crossbreeding the power of the hatch over the speed hens. You will have a hybrid that will make you competitive at any level on these sports. The first cross will produce individual with 1/2 power and 1/2 speed. Continuing the breed your half and half, hence back to the power hatch, cocks you will produce individual that are 3/4 power and 1/4 speed. Continue to use this inbreeding strategy. At the very best may possibly be 15-16 power and 1/16 speed. By keeping careful records, you will be able to continuously produce outstanding battle fowl for many years. Okay. Not at all the above controlled by any one gene, but the usually grouping of genes which are certainly patterned will result the above characteristics. To explain the science of genetics, I will give you the example how we living things are genetically controlled. Example, straight comb versus P comb. We will use the symbol S for straight comb dominance and S for recessive straight comb genetic characteristic. We will use the symbol P for a chicken with a P comb dominance and P small p for recessive for P comb chicken. I hope to illustrate in a very convincing way that all living things are controlled by their genetics makeup. If you have paid attention to the news lately, you will know it is now possible through genetic engineering to eliminate disease and produce what some would call the perfect baby. We will not try to produce the perfect baby, but we will try to help you understand the very basic fundamentals of genetics. Each cock and hen will contribute equal genetic characteristic. If the hatch family all comes P comb, their genetic dominance for the characteristic can be illustrated by using PP. If P comb is present is most but not all offspring, we will use a PP to indicate that the P comb could be either dominant or recessive. If you breed the P comb dominant PP to the P comb dominant, all of the offspring will be P comb. All is a very large word, but if only P comb dominant games are available, all offspring will be P comb. Ito po yun, pinapaliwanag po. If you breed this P comb dominant hatch to a Kelso type hen that would have the straight comb dominant game in the P comb recessive genes, most of the offspring will come P comb, but some will show the straight comb. The important factor is that all the offspring will carry the genetic capability of producing P comb and straight comb individual, and their genetic configuration can be illustrated by PP or SP if used for breeding purpose would produce P comb and straight comb individual. If you continue to cross P comb and straight comb individual, you will never have consistency of the P comb dominant characteristic, and you will never be able to reproduce all P comb individual. The breeding of any human or animal is always genetically influenced. I recommend that you read more on basic genetics, and you will have a better understanding how nature works. All public libraries have books dealing with genetics, and increasing your knowledge of this subject, you will be better able to accomplish your goals in cockfighting. Years ago, cockfighters experienced success by using the very best cock and the best hens, which resulted in success for a period of time. For consistently and long-term success, the cockfighter who use all of the above method will be successful for many years. Breeding alone will not bring you success. Breeding alone will not bring you success. You must able to enjoy the offspring of your breeding program. It is difficult today, regardless of your breeding strategy, is to raise a strong, disease-free individual. The following discussion of raising game fowl will help you accomplish your goals in success in cockfighting. Okay. Aliliwanag ko na po. Tapos. Boss Joe Sanit, ito po yung tanong mo. Sir, pwede po bang talakayin sa proper breeding, pagpapares ng tandang at inahin, ano magkaibaan, linyada, halimbawa, Hatch Roundhead, yan ang mga roundhead, balahibo, okay, ganito po yan. Ang tawag po dito ay sexling. Kung meron kayong, ang gusto mo magpalahay ng Hatch Roundhead, green legs, palagay natin yung sinasabi mo roundhead, hindi mo sinabi kung ano family siya, kung Boston o what. Ay sasample ka na yung lazy roundhead, white leg. Okay. Pag ang iyong gagamiting mga materyales si pure lines, o palagay natin ginawa mo siya ng breeding for 7-8, na wala kang dinadagdag sa kanyang linyada o dugo ng iba, siya lang talaga ang ginagamit mo. Pag kinos mo yung Hatch Roundhead, mayahin at sa dalusapin puti pa, tandaan mo, pag nag-anak yan, siyempre babae at lalaki. Yung lalabas diyan lalaki, sinusuguro ko sa iyo 100% white leg na pula. Yung babae mayahin. Kasi yun ang dugo ng tatay. At yung babae, yun ang dugo ng nanay. Pag Perosiran pure line, yun na sinasabi dito na 355. Yung ibig sabihin, 7-8 generation yung tandang, 164 generation yung yung inahin. Yun ang gina. Sa mga naman, sa balahibo naman, kung gusto mo talisain o kaya bayahin o hatch gray, gagawa ka ng hatch gray, ganun din. Pag binreed mo sila, mag-aanak sila ng lalaki. Pag tama ang breeding mo at talagang na-line breed mo sila ng maayos, talagang lumalabas yung dominant talaga. Yung gray sa hatch, ang inahin mo'y gray, binangga mo sa mayahin, lahat ng lalabas na lalaki, gray. Pati paa noon, ganun din. Yun na simpleng paliwanag diyan. Yung sinasabi mo sa akin na genotype at tawag dito phenotype, ito yun, paliwanag ko sa yung nilista ko na. Yung genotype na sinasabi natin, ito yung tinatawag nating DNA kung sa tao, sa human. Kasi ang tao, mayroong 46 chromosome sa tao, ha? Sa manok, 39 chromosome. Ang tawag sa DNA, ito yung DNA, ito yung malalaman kung babae o lalaki yung inaanak, ang iaanak. Ang sinasabing, ang meaning ng DNA ay deoxyribonucleic acid. Yan ang ibig sabihin ng DNA. Ito yung genotype. Ito yung hindi to nakikita. Ito yung nasa dugo nila. Yun naman phenotype na sinasabi mo. Yung phenotype, yun naman yung itsura. Itsura ng manok na binirid mo. Na galing sa magulang nila. Yun yung tinatawag na phenotype. Sana naiintindihan mo itong pinapaliwanag ko. Ito naman sinasabing heterozygous. Ito yung sa genetics, genetics term. Heterozygous, ito yung tinatawag nilang mix. Yung di siya puro. Yung homozygous, ito yung tinatawag nilang pure sa term ng genetics. Ngayon, pag ang palo ng Hatch Roundhead habang sinasabi sa libro, Hatch Roundhead, di kinuros mo 50-50, hindi ba? Depende yan kung saan mo gustong ilagay. Kung saan mo gustong ilagay yung i-cross mo. Gusto mo yung speed, ilalagay mo sa speed. Kung gusto mo power, ilalagay mo sa power. Depende yan sa iyo kung ano gusto mong ibig mo sabihin doon sa gusto mong i-cross. Ito nakalagay dito, the first cross will produce individual with half and half power and speed. Pag binalik mo ulit siya doon sa nanay nilang pareho, ang mangyayari sa iya, magkakaroon ka dyan 1/2 power, continuing, reproduce, that are 3/4. Ang ginawa niya dito, nilagay niya sa Hatch, kaya ang nangyari, 3/4 power, 1/4 speed. Nababawasan na yung speed. Kasi ang concentrate niya, doon siya sa power. Binalik niya uli sa inbreeding, binalik niya uli sa 15-16 power and 1/16 speed. Ang ibig sabihin, binalik niya uli yung 3/4 doon sa 7-8 sa magulang uli, na binabawasan na niya uli yung speed. Ang gusto niyang mangyari, doon siya mag-concentrate sa power, sa Hatch. Yan ang sinasabi. Yung sinasabing 3/5 na breeding. Yung sinasabing 3/5 na breeding, yung cockside, sinasabi nilang third generation. Makukuha mo yung cockside. Yung hen ay fifth generation. Kukuhanin mo yung 164. Halos 5 salin saka 3 salin sa tandang, 5 salin sa inahin. Yun ang sinasabi nilang 3/5. Yun ang proper breeding talaga. Hindi ka pwedeng mag-cross agad ng ganon nang hindi mo naman alam kung pure lens yung ginagawa mo. Kasi baka sapso yung ibibreed mo. Sari-sari kulay ang lalabas doon. Yun lang ang may papaliwanag ko sa iyo. Kung gusto mong gumaling sa pagpapalahi ng manok, kinakailangan meron kang background ng genetics. Kasi ibig sabihin nito, genes. Dugo nila to. Nasa mga ancestor nila pinagmulan. Kung ano yung mga kung yung breeder na kinuha mo, kung ano yung inimpis niya. Kung nare-review mo yung sinasabi ko sa 1-2, nandun lahat yung ibig ko sabihin. Sana naliwanagan mo tong pinapaliwanag ko sa iyo. Hindi ka pwedeng magpalabas ng gusto mong paa o gusto mong balahibo hanggang hindi ka nagla-line breed. Na wala kang dinadagdag na ibang dugo doon sa gusto mong mangyari. Halimbawa, yung pinapaliwanag ko, roundhead, kailangan hanggang 7-8 o 4th generation, ibalik mo sila, ibalik sa kanya. Wala kang i-infuse. Sa Hatch naman, ganun din. Wala ka rin i-infuse. Pag binangga mo silang pareho, pero silang pure, sinusuguro ko sa iyo, lahat ng tandang nalalabas doon sa mating na yon, lalaki, ay pula. Dahil ang ginamit mo lazy roundhead, inahin na white leg. Ang tawag dyan ay sex link. Sana marami kang natutunan ngayong araw to sa akin. Ito talaga ang totoo. Dahil ako, hindi mo ako nagkukwento lang. Meron akong reference. Yan po. Reference ko yan. 100% po, lahat ng mga sinasabi ko rito, puro quality contents po ito. Hindi po ako nag-i-invento rito or what. Hindi po. May reference po ako talaga dito. Oh, Mr. Josa, maraming salamat po. At sana naman nakatulong ako sa iyo. Sa aking mga kaibigan dyan, paki-subscribe na lang po naman. At pa-like at saka comment. Yun lang po naman ang bigyan yung tulong sa akin. Maraming salamat po sa inyo. Sa susunod na uli, mag-comment uli kayo para marami tayong pag-usapan. Maraming salamat po. Magandang araw sa inyo.